On Larry King Now, actor and comedian Rob Riggle.
When I was on The Daily Show, I shared an office with John Oliver, and I would drag him down to the Upright Citizens Brigade to do improv, because that's how I came up, doing long-form improv. And then he said, okay, now you got to come with me and do stand-up. And I'm like, I don't do stand-up, I don't know how to do it. He's like, just start.
When they cast you, did you have to audition?
No, I had actually read the script 5 years earlier. And I had sat down and talked with Jerry about the script. And I told him what I thought of it, and that was it. And then I didn't hear from him for 5 years. And then I get a call saying, hey, we're making the movie, they want you to play Bowers.
Well, lots of guys are veterans, but they don't stay active after that.
You know, I deployed to Kosovo, I deployed to Liberia, I deployed to Afghanistan twice. I still think if you can contribute, you should contribute.
Plus, why are farts funny?
They'll always be funny. It's just Blazing Saddles, that one scene, we all see it. It pleases everybody every time.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest is Rob Riggle, actor, comedian, host, and former Lieutenant Colonel of the United States Marine Corps. Rob is known for his fan-favorite roles in comedies like Step Brothers, The Hangover, and Dumb and Dumber 2. He's also part of Fox Sports' NFL Game Day pre-show, bringing us Riggle's picks every week during the pro football season. Rob is stepping out of the comedy realm, however, for his new military drama, 12 Strong, the declassified true story of the horse soldiers, due out January 19th. First of all, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Do you make resolutions?
I used to, but then all I do is set myself up for failure.
I don't know.
So now I just don't do it.
I resolved to, what the hell. Okay, tell me about, you got a lot of films coming out. Tell me about 12 Strong. 12
Strong. It's a great story, a true story about the 3rd Battalion, 5th Special Forces Group, U.S. Army, who were the first guys into Afghanistan right after 9/11. So 9/11 obviously happened September 11th. These guys went in October of 2001 and linked up with the Northern Alliance in northern Afghanistan and started fighting the Taliban and Al-Qaeda.
So the book was Horse Soldiers.
Right, that was the name.
Were they on horse? Were they cavalry?
That's the thing. They were fighting on horseback in the mountains, and they're fighting against mechanized weaponry, you know, tanks and armored personnel carriers and artillery, modern-day artillery, and they were able to ride into combat on these horses and do incredible things that no one really got to know about because it was classified for a long time.
I didn't know the Marine, isn't cavalry a separate unit of the Army?
Yes, yeah, but we don't use horses anymore. It's just cavalry is kept over from the old Army days, as you know. 7th Cavalry, I think, was Custer's.
You went in on horses, right?
Yes, they did. They went in on horses. They flew in on a helicopter, but then when they linked up with their Northern Alliance allies or counterparts, who they sort of trusted and didn't trust at the same time, we didn't know, you know, and we linked up with them, and they went in, and we managed to beat back the Taliban and take Mazar-e Sharif in the north.
Who do you play?
I play Lieutenant Colonel Max Bowers, who was my old commanding officer. I went over. I joined this group in November.
You went to Afghanistan?
Mm-hmm. And I served over there. I was sent from Central Command to join up with this group, and I was on the command element, working directly for Lieutenant Colonel Max Bowers. So I worked directly for him, and now I'm playing him in the movie. So
was he an advisor on the movie?
No, I haven't seen the man since Afghanistan. Haven't even talked to him since Afghanistan.
You ought to tell him you're playing him.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's because I knew the man, I guess. So I was lucky in that regard. But they did have the stories based on certain folks that were there, and those folks did come and advise. So they actually had guys from the unit there.
Who's starring in it?
Chris Hemsworth, Michael Shannon, Michael Pena, some great actors, some of my favorite actors, and it's a Jerry Bruckheimer production.
I love Jerry.
Yeah.
Good guy.
He knows how to do. He knows how to do a war movie. We shot it last November in New Mexico which has a landscape and a geography much like Afghanistan.
All right, what's it like for you to play serious?
It was great. You know, I don't get that opportunity much. Finally, all those acting classes that I paid so much money for, I got to use some of those tricks, and I got to do something that I don't normally get to do, which is always great. You know, you grow when you do things like that, so it was good.
What made you get involved in Veterans Affairs?
Being a veteran, being a 23-year veteran of the Marine Corps.
Lots of guys are veterans, but they don't stay active after that.
Yeah, I just...
you were 23 years? 23
years, 9 years active duty, 14 in the reserve, and... you know, I deployed to Kosovo, I deployed to Liberia, I deployed to Afghanistan twice. I still think if you can contribute, you should contribute, and that's why I like to support the veterans.
Were you a little ticked when you must have been a little older when they deploy you again?
No, I wasn't ticked. As a matter of fact, I was in New York on 9/11, and my reserve unit was the only reserve unit in Manhattan. So I was activated the night of September 11th, and I reported to Ground Zero on September 12th. And I worked in the bucket brigades, moving rubble by hand off of the piles there. So I worked there from September 12th to September 18th, 12 on, 12 off, 12 on, 12 off.
There were Marine units there?
Yeah. Well, my unit was, and we just worked in the bucket brigades because we couldn't bring any heavy machinery in because there was 6 stories of rubble. We didn't know if there was 100 people down there, 1,000 people. We didn't know who was underneath all that rubble, and we didn't want to cause any cave-ins, so we had to do it all by bucket brigades. So that was the first 6 days, and then they pulled us off the piles eventually, and I worked in one police plaza down there, coordinating military-civilian efforts. But I was a captain at the time, and I was pissed. My country was just attacked. So I knew they were going to need people, and I had a green badge, which is a high security clearance, for my job, so I volunteered to go back on active duty. I got picked up on November 10th of 2001, which is the Marine Corps birthday, never forget it. November 17th, I reported to Tampa, to Central Command, and then on November 30th, I was in Afghanistan, and I reported to Colonel Max Bowers, and now I'm playing him in the movie.
This is an incredible story.
Yeah.
When they cast you, did you have to audition?
No, I had actually read the script 5 years earlier, and I had sat down and talked with Jerry about the script, and you know, we just kind of went over things in the script and stuff, and I told him what I thought of it, and that was it. And then I didn't hear from him for 5 years, and I just thought, oh well, it didn't get made or it's not going to happen, and then I get a call saying, hey, we're making the movie, they want you to play Bowers. I said, okay, wow. I'm in.
Well, you think you ought to call him now? Where is he? Is he retired?
I don't know where he is. I don't even know how to get a hold of him. I really, I wouldn't know. Well, hopefully he'll be at the premiere. Hopefully he'll be at the premiere, and I'll get to see him.
12 Strong opens January 19th. The Declassified, true story.
Yeah. It
was classified a long time then.
It was.
Next, we'll talk about NFL playoffs with America's favorite prognosticator. I had a bad year. Rob Riggle's with us. Plus, what other big screen projects does he have in the works? Stay with us on Larry King Now. I was once part of Riggle's Picks.
No, a couple times.
Yeah. We did it here, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And we did an NFL Network thing.
Uh-huh. Oh, I mean, I love when you come on. We were always so glad when you come on, because it's always gold.
How did you get involved with this whole NFL thing?
I hosted the ESPYs about 5 years ago, and when I got done with that, Fox called, and they said, "Hey, we've got an opening, and we'd love for you to come in and, you know, do it." Because Frank Caliendo did it for many years prior to me.
Where is Frank?
I don't know. He's out. I saw him at a roast of Terry Bradshaw, and he's great. He's always funny, always nice. So I got to see him. That was the last time I saw him, though. And before Frank, you know, Jimmy Kimmel did it.
Yeah.
So it was Jimmy, then it was Frank, and then it was me. And so now they asked me to do it, and I said, yeah, because I've always loved watching those comedy bits, and I love the NFL, so it was a great chance to.
How'd you do this year?
I didn't win, I don't think, but it's not quite over because we do count the playoffs. So I had, what happens is we pick a lock and an underdog.
Right.
And if you pick an underdog, you get more points. So I've been picking all underdogs to try to catch up, and it's been costing me a little bit, but it's all right.
In addition to 12 Strong, you've been tackling other dramatic roles. Midnight Sun is due March 23rd.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's what I would consider more of a heavy drama. The 12 Strong is more of a straight role, is what I would call it, and this is more, Midnight Sun's more of a dramatic role. I play a father whose daughter is dying of a rare disease, and it's a wonderful story. Bella Thorne plays my daughter. Patrick Schwarzenegger plays her lover.
Arnold's son.
Arnold's son, yeah, and he's a wonderful young actor.
Good?
He is. And he's easy on the eyes.
He's a
handsome young man. He's a handsome young man. I'm sure you did.
I saw him in Maui.
Okay, yeah.
He used to run on the beach with my kids.
That's awesome.
How old is he now? He can't be 20-something.
He's got to be early 20s, 21, 22, somewhere in there.
Tops.
But he's a great young actor, and it's a wonderful love story, but it is very dramatic, and it was fun for me to get a chance to do that.
It was based on a Japanese film?
There is one called, I think it is called Midnight Sun, actually the same name. But yes, it's the story of this young woman who can't go outside during the day because the rays of the sun would kill her.
I saw the trailer.
Yeah, so that's what the gist.
Well, that trailer made it look. What is her sickness?
It's called XP, but obviously there's a longer name to that, but the abbreviation is XP. And it's a real disease where if you get in the sun and the sun rays hit you, it will kill you. It will destroy your tissue in your body and your nervous system.
And she meets this boy and...
Yeah, and so they have to, in order to rendezvous, it's at night, and she doesn't want to tell him, and it's interesting.
There's a good scene you're in the trailer.
Yeah, I'm glad. Like I said, I don't get the opportunity, or I haven't had many opportunities, any really, except till this year, to start doing more straight roles and more dramatic roles.
Comedians go to comedy well. A lot of drama actors who are only in dramas find comedy difficult, but comedians can go to acting.
I think so. I think you're right. I think it is a better transition to go from comedy to drama than it is to go from drama to comedy.
This comedy's
hard.
Serious business.
Comedy's hard, as you know. Comedy's hard. So.
When did you want to become? You were all these years in the military. Were you the clown of the troops?
I wasn't actually. No, I was. Now in high school, I was voted most humorous. In college, I was a theater and film major, and I loved comedy. I've been a fan of comedy my whole life. I can recite chapter and verse, Caddyshack, Stripes, any movie, comedy movie from the 80s. But when I was in the military, I was an officer, and I didn't want to be a screwball in front of my Marines. They needed to trust me. So I just, I never put on that hat. I was always myself, though. I never acted like a robot or anything. I always had my personality. I wasn't going to change that, but I didn't screw around much.
You were never a stand-up?
Eventually I did, when I was on The Daily Show. When I was on The Daily Show, I shared an office with John Oliver, and I would drag him down to the Upright Citizens Brigade to do improv, because that's how I came up, doing long-form improv, to do improv with me and to do monologues and stuff like that. And then he said, okay, now you got to come with me and do stand-up. And I'm like, I don't do stand-up. I don't know how to do it. He's like, just start. And so I had to go and tell a story, a 3-minute story. That was how I started. So I went down to some comedy club in the Slipper Room on the Lower East Side or whatever, and I told a story, and I tried to tell a funny story, and it worked. He goes, great, you got 3 minutes. Now, come back next week with another 3-minute story. And so that's how he did it. He got me to build an entire 60-minute set by putting together these stories and writing things out. And
he's incredible.
Yeah. So and then I did. I had a set, and I toured for 3 years while I was on The Daily Show. I would go out with him, and we would do gigs, and I ended up doing a Comedy Central special. But then I wanted to focus more on the acting. So
you get commercials. You're doing everything, Riggle.
I'm trying to work. That's
part of the national scene. After the break, we'll play a special game of If You Only Knew with Rob Riggle. By the way, the movie 12 Strong will open January 19th. Don't click away. We're back with Rob Riggle. He's a great talent, and I'm so happy he's going to go into serious work. 12 Strong and Midnight Sun's coming. I saw the trailer for that. We play a little game of If You Only Knew, Rob, and you don't have to answer them.
Okay.
But you could try.
I'm going to try.
Childhood celebrity crush.
Childhood. Farrah Fawcett.
Not
Gotta
bad.
be up there. Gotta be up there.
Secret talent.
Secret talent. Armpit farts.
What?
Armpit farts.
Why are farts funny?
They'll always be funny. It's just Blazing Saddles, that one scene, we all see it. It pleases everybody every time. I don't know. I think it's just because it's such an easy laugh. It is low-hanging fruit, but for whatever reason, it's so juvenile, it tickles everybody's funny bone.
Person you trade places with for a day.
My kids, God, they have a good life.
Weirdest job you've ever had.
Weirdest job I ever had. I worked in a bag factory.
Bag factory?
A bag factory where they make these, those big bags of Alpo, or grain feed or whatever. And I would stack bags on pallets and then load the pallets into semis.
Boring?
Boring, awful job.
Guilty pleasure.
I will rock out to Avril Lavigne every now and then.
Not bad. Biggest risk? Biggest risk you ever took?
Biggest risk I ever took was quitting flight school to pursue comedy and acting when I was in the Marines. I left
flight school.
I was in flight school, and I was
be a Marine aviator like Ted Williams.
That's right. That's right. And I said, you know what? I want to pursue comedy and acting, so I moved from the aviation side to the ground side, reduced my commitment, and then allowed me to pursue comedy and acting.
Best compliment you ever got?
One of the best I ever got was I came off stage at The Daily Show. I had just done a bit with John, and I came off, and the guest was Don Rickles. And he came up and he shook my hand. He said, "That was funny." And then he walked by me, and I stood in that little kitchenette area glowing for about 5 minutes.
Best friend of mine of 50 years.
He's the best.
What never fails to make you laugh?
We were just talking about farts. They're up there.
Who was the guy who used to go on a Tonight Show all the time and sit down and
I don't know. I love that somebody did that, though.
Yeah, he did.
Mel Brooks makes me laugh a lot.
Oh, me too.
I mean,
because he's so smart.
You just count me in.
What's the worst piece of advice you ever got?
Jump, you can make it.
Something you wish you were better at?
I wish I knew how to play a musical instrument or speak a foreign language.
Both of those would be mine.
I don't know how to do those, and it kills me.
Best perk of being a celebrity?
It really sucks these days because my whole life feels like selfies with total strangers and awkward interactions with strangers. But every now and then, you can get a table at a restaurant when it's full. Sometimes they'll bump you up a little bit on the list.
Come right through.
Exactly.
Person you'd like to be stranded with on a desert island?
My wife. Can
you do impersonations?
Of my wife?
No, any. Can you do any impersonation? Are you
not really. I've always been. It's more of a characterization. I mean, I just love people. Is a Paul Lynde, I guess, but that's
a perfect Paul
That's
Lynde.
about as good as it gets for me.
Strangest fan encounter?
Strangest fan encounter. I had a guy one time want to take a picture with me. I was with my family at a restaurant at a beach, and he wanted to take a picture with me. And normally, he didn't want to take a picture. He wanted to take a picture, but he also wanted me to scream "pow," which is this line from a movie I did called Step Brothers. And I said, I don't want to yell "pow" in a restaurant. It's just not couth, or it's very uncouth. And he got really pissed about it. He got
what?
Yeah, he was like, "Are you seriously not going to do it?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want to yell "pow" in a restaurant." He's like, "Whatever." I was like, I don't know what you want from me. Leave me alone. I'm eating dinner.
Is there something you long believed to be true but realized wasn't?
Besides Santa, I don't know.
Well, Santa was like 9 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, Santa was there for a long time.
Anything I don't know about, anything we don't know about you? What's something the public has no idea about you?
I'm an open book, Larry. I think people know everything. I'm Chiefs fans, Royals fan, military, acting.
Are Kansas City steaks the best, too?
They're the best. Barbecue's the best.
Because?
And the marbling and the grass-fed.
Okay,
it doesn't get much better than that.
In our final moments with Rob Riggle, he'll answer your questions from social media, and we'll be right back. Our guest is Rob Riggle. 12 Strong will be out January 19th, Midnight Sun in March. And we have some social media questions.
Oh, boy.
Chico Pasco on Twitter How did being a Marine shape your comedic style?
It didn't at all. There's no, I really don't.
Nothing funny in a Marine.
Well, there is, but I just never, I kept those two worlds totally separate. The people ask, they do ask that, like, is there anything that you brought from the Marines? Did it help you in acting or anything like that? The only thing it did was the intangibles, such as having a thick skin, having a never quit attitude, being able to withstand the rejections, and because acting and comedy it's so subjective, and you do get told no all the time, and you do have people judging you. You have people taking dumps on you. They just, you suck, and the military is very objective. You have missions, you accomplish them, or you don't.
Why are Marines always Marines? You could be 80 years old, you're still a Marine.
Yeah, it's an ethos. It's something that's, when everybody else reduced their boot camp to, they went from 10, 12 weeks down to 8 weeks or whatever, we expanded ours. We went from 12 weeks to 13 weeks.
Paris Island, where you die.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you do boot at Paris?
No, I went through officer candidate school at Quantico, Virginia.
Oh, a little better.
Yeah, so it was, but they're trying to get rid of you there. You're not in the Marines until you get through that. So when you sign to enlist, you're signing a 4-year contract, and then you go and they make you a Marine, whether you're ready or not, they're going to make you a Marine. When you go to officer candidate school, they're trying to get rid of you. It's screening and evaluating. So I started with 64 guys in my platoon. We graduated 32.
Kyla Vanderwood on Twitter, what was your favorite memory for being on The Daily Show?
My favorite memory of being on The Daily Show was sharing an office with John Oliver for 3 years. We used to make each other laugh every day.
You're not surprised at his success then?
Not at all. Not at all. It was inevitable.
Ricardo Darren on Twitter, what do you do to motivate yourself when you're feeling blue?
Exercise, honestly. Get some physical movement. Endorphins. Get running, get exercising, get out, do something. Call a friend also, someone who makes you laugh.
Real Justin Stone on Twitter, how will the Royals do this year?
They're going to win the World Series, but I say that every year.
You got to sign your first baseman, right?
If we lock down Haas, we'll be good, and get some more pitching.
Daniel Christopher Thomas on Facebook, what did you do for your Saturday Night Live audition?
When you're a stand-up, they want you to do your best 5 minutes. That's kind of what. But when I wasn't. I was an improviser. So they say, okay, give me 3 characters and 3 impersonations, 3 original characters and 3 impersonations. So I'm not an impersonator, so I had to do characterizations. So I remember I did 3 characters that I created on my own. One of which I did on Weekend Update, a guy named Leviticus, who's this street prophet, street preacher or whatever, who was based on someone I actually saw in Kansas, at the University of Kansas. He used to come and get everybody worked into a frenzy. And then I did like Toby Keith and Jeremy Shockey, because Jeremy Shockey was he was in the news at the time. He'd gotten himself in some sort of trouble. So I tried to make it a topical thing. But basically I just wrote 1-minute monologues for each character and made them funny, and then went out there and did all 6 of them, and then I was out.
It's great having you on.
Hey,
Rob.
thank you.
Let me be on the NFL next year.
That's right, absolutely.
Big thanks to my guest, Rob Riggle. Be sure to see 12 Strong out in theaters on January 19th. What an amazing story. Plays a guy who was his commander. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Kingsthing. See you next time.